In this tutorial I'm going to show you something I tested earlier this year using the XPS XNA tool. If you don't know what this is or what the XNA XPS tool is, there are links in the description. Simply put, it's a tool that people use for making renders of models from other games and, well, anything that's got a model in it. So I thought, could this be used for modding? And yes, it can. So when I convert from one game to another, I pose that model to match the pose of the game I'm importing to. So in Dragon Age Inquisition, I used it actually for transferring from human female to dwarf female, for example. Once I have that pose set, I'll export that pose so I have a base to start from whenever I want to convert from human female to dwarf female again. You do need to tweak things afterwards, maybe the pose itself, but sculpting is definitely something that I had to do for the dwarf female because I wanted to match the body of the dwarf female. In this tutorial though, I'm going to show a Mass Effect Andromeda model to Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I won't be showing the inside Legendary Explorer in this tutorial, I'll be showing that in another tutorial, but I will link to text tutorials or text and image tutorials in the description that I wrote for importing models into the game as new meshes. So first you do need the XPS tool, which is linked in the description, and then we go to install, locate our Blender script, install, and then make sure you have it ticked. If you can't see this side panel, press N, and my Blender setup is set up for 2.7 keys. So in my key map it's 2.7 because I'm just more used to it personally. So first we need the base model, which we need to work out what pose we need to put the Mass Effect Andromeda model into. So use the PSK import linked in the description, and I'll also be linking a tutorial that shows you how to set up your models for use in the game. So we want to keep scale down ticked for this because Mass Effect Andromeda model isn't a native model to Legendary Edition. We need to use FBX export. We can only use PSK export when it's a model directly from the game. So say we imported this and we wanted to edit this and export it back out, then we could use PSK export. But because the model isn't directly from the game, we use FBX export, which means do not untick scale down. So let's import. Oops, didn't click the mesh. Okay, so we have our mesh set up. Let's double click that and rename it MELE. Oh, Mass Effect Andromeda Legendary Edition. So LE. Yeah. Rename this Mass Effect Andromeda. Okay, so let's first hide the LE one. Import FBX because that is the format Frosty Editor exports. And I want to do Sloane's outfit. Okay, let's go in here, shift left click. It might be shift right click for the non-Blender 2.7 keys. And delete because we only need level of detail 0. So now I don't want two skeletons, so let's delete that one. Press R and X and then type 90 to rotate it on the x-axis at 90 degrees. Press enter to apply. Shift right click, I think it's left click for non-Blender 2.7. Control P, set parent to object, and now it's under the same one. But we also want to set the mesh modifier to the same button as well. Actually, let's do a step here quick. So no materials. Okay, let's go into edit mode. oops, don't press scale. Select all, assign, so salon top, new, salon under, assign, so let's just make sure that gets selected. Okay, because for LE we need to make sure that we have the right materials for the meshes, but all meshes go under the same UV channel in order for the materials to apply correctly in Legendary Explorer. Let's join these in together. Okay, so now we want to unhide the other mesh, and now with this selected, go into pose mode, select all, rotate on the Z axis, so Z 90 degrees. So this is already now applied to the pose, which makes one step a little bit quicker. And now we want to match this to the pose of the LE model. So Mass Effect Andromeda, as you can see, is more closer towards the T pose, and LE is more towards an A pose. So scale slightly up. Okay. For this bit, we might prefer seeing these bones in front. Okay. Left arm. For this section, we can use X-axis mirror under tool, but it doesn't work for all rotations. So X, it will do very well, but on the Y-axis, it goes the opposite direction. So rotate X, turn that off. Okay, rotate Y. Actually, let's turn off the in front for this bit. Okay, go back into object mode. Let's hide the other skeleton. Change that to stick. Yeah, that's better. Pose mode. Oops. Actually undo that. One thing I didn't take into account. Do that again. Stick. We'll keep that actually unhidden. So left arm on the Y axis. So it's minus. Okay. Copy. Rotate on the Y. Paste. Okay, so it's best to do this for every bone because the copy and paste doesn't actually work because it flips it the direction. So if you move by the Y-axis, it puts it in the opposite direction, just like the X-axis mirror does, sadly. So it can take a while, but once this is done, we've got then a pose set up. Okay, so yeah, on the X-axis again, so we can. Okay, yeah, it's messing that up, so let's just do one by one again. Okay. Copy again. Don't just write it and then copy it, because clicking shows that it's not 3.07, it's 3.0732 degrees. Okay. Rotate X, press click, so it doesn't move it but applies it, so we can then apply it differently. Okay, let's try that on positive. Yeah, so sometimes you might have to revert positive to negative or negative to positive based on what side you pose first. Let's have a look. Okay. I think the legs, yeah, definitely need pausing. Right. Oh no, rotate X. rotate X, which turns that to positive. Now I want to rotate the foot slightly. And now I want to make that negative on this foot. X. Okay, that looks pretty good actually. Okay. Go back up. Let's finish the arm. So let's just see if that resets anything again. No, so we can actually use that for scaling at least. Okay, rotate. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to look on the other side slightly because it's slightly different. Okay, actually, we just scaled it slightly too much. We want to scale it to about there. So again, this is playing around, so your pose might be differently, differently. Okay, that's actually sort of good. Like I said, it's a lot of tweaking the pose to try and match the press the decimal point to change that a bit. Okay, need to rotate that hand a bit. Rotate X. Okay, that looks like it's working a little bit better. Okay, yep. Okay, that hand's definitely a lot better. Oop. That one. Put it down there a bit. Straighten it up. So when you just press rotate when you're facing the direction instead of actually defining like X, Y or Z, it rotates based on the camera angle, which comes in super handy. Does that look too... that doesn't look actually too bad. That could actually do this bit of a scale as well. Because the hands are huge, but the fingers are also a bit huge. Okay, maybe it needs rotating a little bit more on. And then like that. Okay, yeah. So that just needs rotating a bit more down. That needs actually rotating a little bit back. Up. Okay, yeah, that's definitely better. And then back up. Oh, rotate a little bit that way. That one. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, I know that one for sure. But as long as it matches up pretty well. I can try copying these poses in a second to the other hand, and then I can see whether it would get that issue that I was thinking about before. Okay, that actually helped a little bit. Fingers definitely huge in comparison to the LE version. Okay. A little bit instead. Actually, let's revert that for them. Like I said, this bit is where it gets a bit lengthy. You can always touch them up in Sculpt mode. Okay, so I just want to copy the hand pose. Let's copy that. Control C. Go to the other hand. Unselect by pressing A. Control V. Yeah, as you can see, it does the opposite of what I wanted to do, sadly. Okay. Okay, there's no other option on that one, so let's repeat what we did. Like I said, that's why it can take a while. Okay, did I scale that hand? Yeah, I did a little bit, I think. Okay. Good. Okay. He's scaling a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Oh my, look, it actually looks better. Okay, turn off in front, maybe that's a bit, yeah, that might be a bit easier. Okay, pause. Not that way. That way. Okay, this is actually, I might be actually looking a little bit better. Okay, this finger is definitely massive in comparison to the other finger. Let's just look up. Oh, see, that's not actually that far off. Okay, let's have a look. So it doesn't actually look too bad. So now that we've got the pose matching, we want to go back out of pose mode with the Andromeda skeleton selected. In the XPS tools, go to Export Pose and Mass Effect Andromeda Human Female to Legendary Edition Human Female. I say this because the poses may differ between the genders or the races. For example, with the Dragon Age Inquisition, you got more than one race, and this technique can be used for those games as well. So let's export our pose. Now for this mesh, so we don't lose the pose, go to reference and not reference modifiers, and apply the modifier. So now let's say we picked the reference again and went into pose mode, selected all, reverted all the movements and stuff, so Alt R, Alt S, Alt A, oops, not A, Alt grab. As you can see, it's gone back into that, although pause, okay, I think mine's not working because of my video overlay, but Alt R resets the rotation as well, but as you can see it's not affected our model, so we can actually delete this. What am I doing? Go out of pose mode, delete. You can see our mesh is still in the position that we want it to be in. So now we could go into here, delete all groups, select our other mesh, go into this, and go into weight paint, weights, transfer weights, and by name all is. And then our model has the weights, and we can transfer this to Legendary Edition, which I will be actually working on this model now for Legendary Edition. So now we have that pose, let's test it on another model. So let's hide our first one, create a new folder for our test, import FBX, let's try it with that model, delete our LODs, select the reference, import pose, find our pose, and let's hide the skeleton for a second. Our hands and everything are lined up where we want it to be. Like I said, mesh wise you might want to tweak it a little bit, but if you're happy with the shape of the mesh overall, then this really helps. So again, we would go into here, delete the weights, and then add the weights from the other model. So as you can see, using poses as a base, once you've posed a mesh to get into the right position when you're converting from one game to the other, save the pose with XPS tools. Because if you want to do one from the same game, it just speeds up the process so much, and it actually does the exact same pose as you did before. So your models will have consistency too. Not be consistent between each model you port from that game. Okay, I think that's everything I want to show in this video. I do hope to start making more videos specifically for Legendary Edition and maybe for other games, but for other games I'm waiting a bit on, like Baldur's Gate. I might be waiting to make more tutorials on that when it's on full release, because of things changing it makes it complicated. But if you wanted to convert a model to that game, make a pose. I don't know what models you'd want to use. It could be from something else, like I don't know, Sims or something, but then you have to get permissions, don't forget. Like if you wanted to port from Witcher 3, you do need permissions from the studio that made the game, which is failing me at the moment. CD Projekt Red, that's it. You would have to write to them for permission to import meshes from that game. For Mass Effect Andromeda, we are very lucky that it is a BioWare game. So that's the tutorial. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps you create models for the game.